Okay, so now that we talked about a threshold first, absolute, then difference threshold, now it's time to talk about above threshold. When we say above threshold, the idea is not about measuring minimum stimulus, but measuring other characteristics of the stimulus. We'll talk about that next. Day for magnitude estimation, recognition, reaction time, phenomenological reporting, and physical tasks. Let's talk about magnitude estimation. Fechner was interested in studying the relationship between stimulus and our experience of it. He was not just interested in quantifying the minimum amount required. He also wanted to understand the relationship in terms of if you increase stimulus by X amount, do you also perceptually experience the same shift? Let me give you an example here. In magnitude estimation experiments, participants would be told, imagine this intensity of light given a standard of 10 points. Then they will be presented randomly with different intensities of lights and would be asked to estimate their intensity with respect to the baseline. The baseline is 60 watts. Then they are presented with 120 watts. They have to say, well, this is twice as bright as the baseline one. If they think so, participants were asked to estimate the magnitude by comparing to a standard value they start with. Now, tell me, what do you think? If you're presented with a 60-watt bright light and then presented with a 120-watt bright light, do you say it twice? You would not. That is the point. The change in intensity of stimulus does not directly correspond to the change in our perceptual experience. That's what he wanted to know. Fechner actually created a formula for magnitude estimation as a relationship between small p, with the intensity of the stimulus, and the p, your conscious estimation of it. If light small p is increasing in intensity, is the big P, your psychological estimation of this change same or not? He found snots and he devised a formula to do it, which was devised later on because we had better technologies later on. Then recognition. Magnitude is about detecting the intensity of the stimulus, brightness. Recognition is to get to a higher level. Typically in these experiments, participants were presented with images and asked to recognize the objects. So it's going beyond just the minimum threshold to the intensity of the stimulus to what it is in terms of recognizing it. The other one is reaction time, which is about how quickly can you detect something. That's reaction time. Now, phenomenological reporting has to do with not just recognizing what stimulus is, up to describe it. It is used in cases where objects are ambiguous. That's phenomenological reporting. You'll also see later how these phenomenological reporting experiment is used to construct timeline of how our perception of objects builds over time. The last one is physical task, where participants would be asked to do a task and we measure the eye gaze and the movement of the hand and find the correlation. We'll discuss this when we talk about action. Remember, we perceive so we can react and interact with the environment. That is the idea. And the last point we'll talk about in this video lecture is the relationship between small p and big P. We said the reason why Fechner and later other perceptual researchers use psychophysics to find the relationship between stimulus and our conscious experience of it to actually understand this relationship between small p and big P, meaning the characteristics of the physical stimulus and our conscious experience of it. It is not direct. If it were direct, then you won't need psychology. You can just use the field of physics. You're more like a device that can detect change. But that's not the case, right? Your experiencing world is not directly proportional to the changes in the environment. This brings us to the very beginning when you say what we perceive in the external world are some energy forms, for example, light. But even within these energy forms, vision, for instance, there are a lot of intensities of light that we are not equipped to experience. Meaning, light is an electromagnetic spectrum, but there are a lot of other electromagnetic spectrum. Visible light is only a part of it. So even in one stimulus case, although we are experiencing light energy, we don't experience all the light energy there. Why? Because of the limitation of our receptors. We can only meaning we can only consciously experience psychologically those aspects of energies in the external world that our receptors can reasonably capture. You cannot experience all the levels of light. We are not equipped to identify infrared rays, but other angles maybe. So our experience of the external world is not necessarily match the external world. We are only experiencing a part of it because of the receptors. Broader level, our experience is also limited in terms of the number of modalities we have. Eyes for light, ears for sound, and all those senses for different forms of energies. But these are not the only forms of energies that exist in the external world. So our experience in general is limited. Our perceptual experience of the external world is limited to only five modalities. Within these five modalities, again, perceptual experience are limited to a narrow range of possible energy levels. This brings us to the end of this video lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video.